and it's 7 o'clock. So people will be tuning in live on Facebook as well as through Zoom, some of our family and friends on Zoom. So I'm just going to get started. Howdy, Jennifer Piggin. I am a member of the Claytley Tene. I have Wet'suwet'en, French and Italian ancestry. I am the chair of the Omineca Artist Run Center Society. So we're here at the Omineca Arts Centre on the unceded ancestral lands of the Claytley Tene. So we recognize and honor them and ensure that we have always and will always walk softly on the land. We are spaced apart, even though we look like we're really close. So I took the mask off so you can hear me nice and clearly. And I will step away when it's Anna-Maria's turn. So we're celebrating and opening the art exhibition with Anna-Maria Lawrie, Life in Stitches. And our artist in residency program is funded by the Emily Carr Living Labs, as well as the City of Prince George. So we applied for a grant, and we are going to continue applying for grants to support the arts. The Omineca Arts Centre is a multidisciplinary artist center, artist run, volunteer run, and funded by donations and or grants. So please do think about applying for artist residency and or supporting us through donations, or if you have any time, you can always volunteer. So we're very grateful for all of those who have donated and spent some time here. So we are most grateful, of course, to the city, to Emily Carr's Living Labs, as well as PRP Holdings, whose building we operate under, and we get donations there. It's been a difficult year with COVID. We usually generate our funds through events, and so right now we're doing virtual events. And we're super excited to see this beautiful work here at the Omineca Arts Centre, 369 Victoria Street in Prince George, BC, if you're tuning in from elsewhere. And feel free to pop some questions in the chat. I'm sure Anna-Maria will get to the answers, and we'll have a question and answer period at the end. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our artist in residence for the year, or for the month, sorry.
Oh, only a month.
Of the year, the last one of the year. Anna-Maria, you can take it away.
I will do that. Thanks, Jen. My turn to unmask, maybe?
Yeah.
It's hot under those masks. Hello, everybody, and thank you for coming tonight. I know many of you have been attached to a computer all day at work, doing meetings, and I really appreciate the fact that you're coming tonight to see me. I'm super excited to be here. Thanks, Jen, and thanks to all the board for inviting me to come. Life in Stitches. What can I say? Life in Stitches is a bunch of dolls, a bunch of quilts, some photographs, and it was a long time coming. I need to thank my parents for encouraging me, my husband for picking up the slack at home for when I was creating, and all my friends and family who encouraged me to step forward and put myself out there. So what I wanted to do was share with you the pathway that brought me here to Omineca. I'll do that with a short video, pre-recorded, just so I don't fumble my words, which I often do. Once the video is over, it's only about 5 minutes long, we'll pop back in for a question and answer, and then give you a little tour of the space. So Jen, maybe you can set up that video, please. My journey to this residency starts very early in my childhood. I grew up in a home where stitches were part of the fabric of life, so to speak. We had homemade clothes, hand-knit sweaters and mittens, embroidered tablecloths, and stitched flowers on our jeans. One of my earliest memories is of receiving a set of beautiful pictures printed onto stiff cardboard from my Oma in Germany. There were holes punched into the pictures and a needle and colorful embroidery floss as well. I had fun embroidering my first pictures that way, choosing the colors and deciding which way my stitches would go. Unfortunately, I don't have any of those to show you, or I would. I do remember them being so lovely, though. As I grew up, stitching moved from cardboard to cloth, sometimes tapestry, sometimes those jeans I was talking about. It was the 70s, you know. I did cross-stitch and crewel embroidery, following patterns in the German magazines and books we had, and often got frustrated because it took so long to finish a piece. When my children were small, I took up quilting, learning how to piece fabric together to make the traditional quilt blocks. In time, I discovered the world of art quilts and started down a new path of stitchery. The first art quilts I made were still functional, but I designed them and tailored them to the people I was making them for. In 2008, we moved to Prince George, and I took another turn in my artistic life, attending CNC's Fine Arts program. While there, I pushed the boundaries of what I thought would be acceptable art, responding to some of the assignments with fabric and thread. And to my surprise, my efforts were well received. After the year-long program, I continued to explore artistic stitching and started to have my stitched and quilted items accepted into exhibitions. Shortly thereafter, I was involved in a discussion with a group of adults in a classroom setting. We were talking about labels, how we're all labeled at birth, and how the labels accumulate as we grow older. One of the people in the group broke down and started picking away at themselves, crying and exclaiming how the labels were piling up faster than they could be picked off. It was a highly emotional moment for that person and for the rest of us in the group. I came away from that discussion with a need to process what I had witnessed and experienced. Pictures, paintings, drawings came to mind, but none of them seemed to provide me with the outlet I needed. I don't know where I found the idea. Perhaps somebody gave me an article, but I made a doll. This doll had labels. This doll was bowed down by the weight of those labels and felt small and helpless. I could relate to this doll. I've been called names many times. I think we all have been, and those names that we are given stick around for a long, long time. I couldn't stop with the one doll, though. I needed to resolve the issue in my head. This was no longer about the event that I had witnessed. It was more. This became a project that produced a total of 3 dolls, and they're all in the exhibition. In addition to They're All Over Me, we also have Blue-Haired Girl, sitting proudly with a highlighter and eraser in control of her labels. And Depending on Your Point of View, which is an interactive piece. Looking through the rose-colored glass gives you one set of labels. Looking through the blue one gives you the opposite set. When I shared these 3 dolls with the class I was in, I invited people to sit with them and talk with them, and leave a line of conversation behind on a piece of paper. Those lines, when combined, created some powerful conversations which touched me to the core. A second group of people created slightly different conversations, but conversations which still eloquently expressed the situations the dolls were portraying. I had a lot to think about after making those dolls. Why did the dolls speak so strongly to the people I had shared them with? My theory is that dolls are what we are all familiar with. We receive them at a young age, whether in the form of a teddy bear or a little human-shaped doll. As children, our dolls are who we talk to when we're sad or happy or excited. In many cases, the dolls talk back until we're too grown up to listen to them anymore. The labels dolls I made had in some way connected with adults and talked to them. I began to make more dolls, and my family got used to seeing body parts lying all around the house. Some of the dolls represent people I know. Others are people I have seen in passing or interacted with in some way. All of them have stories, some of them light, some more serious. I'm on a journey of discovery with the dolls, finding out what they want to say and figuring out how to help them say it. My hope is that they can share their stories with their viewers and that the viewers will be able to hear them.
Now it's stopped. And then we'll start it up again afterwards.
There you go.
So there we go. You have the story of how I made it here. What I didn't talk about in the video was my residency project. Part of a residency is to do some sort of a project, and what I plan to do is continue stitching. I have a project of small postcards, which will be looking at the events in my family and perhaps some in the world that happened in 2020. So the title of it is Hindsight 2020.
And you can come down to the Omineca Arts Centre, take a look at my progress. It's not fast, I can assure you. It takes a little while to do these things, but it will progress as the month goes along. And as well, I'll be posting some of my pieces online. They'll go up on my blog and then be transferred over to the Omineca Facebook page so people can follow along with the exhibition online, because I know not everybody can come down to Omineca. Some of you, many of you that I know live outside of town in other countries. And even some of the people in Prince George are staying super close to home right now, which I respect and admire. So if you have any questions, go ahead and chat them into the chat. Put them into the chat, either on Facebook or onto the Zoom chat.
Monitoring.
Jen is taking a look. And I will try and answer any questions that come up. Give you a couple minutes there to figure out what questions you might want to ask. And then from there, I'll give you a little tour of the exhibition.
There's also a slight delay between the Zoom to the Facebook, just so you know. So if you do ask a question, we might get it in a second. But you can keep an eye on the one up there. We'll give you a couple minutes. If you have any questions, I kind of had a question. I was wondering about your work. I noticed some of the work here is actual stitch pieces and some are photographs.
Yes.
So, I mean, they kind of turn into something else when they're in the larger format of a photograph, and they create this really theatrical piece. So I'm just kind of wondering about your process and your decision making on how you presented your work at the gallery here today.
Well, every time I make a doll, I do take a picture of it, sometimes in a studio-like setting with white surroundings and all the rest. Sometimes I put the dolls in places that suit their personality, that suit the way they've been made. So, for example, one of the pictures that you can see way in the back there, let's see if I can get my hands to point in the right direction. There is a doll riding on a grassy field in Whistler. It's done to scale, looks like a real size person. I have a few others in similar vein. The reason those ones are in pictures is because they have found other homes. They're no longer in my house. So I'm glad I took pictures of them. I have kind of a memento of them, what they were doing while they were with me, and now they've gone off to other pastures.
Beautiful. It's a fun process. You can do anything with that, hey?
Oh, yeah. Definitely can do anything.
And we do have some questions on Zoom, so let's see.
Ames Design. Joined late and missed the media types for Highlight 2020. So 2020 hindsight is going to be a postcard project, fabric postcards. Let me see if I can grab one for you and show you. Okay. They're literally little postcards made out of fabric. I'll write a little something on the back. And they can go through the mail. And what they will be is kind of a little diary of things that have happened in the year 2020. I thought December, this is the only year where we can say hindsight 2020 and make an art project that is literally hindsight 2020.
That's pretty cool.
I can't remember. Did you have another question in there, Kate? How did you start out? Oh, we just went through that on the video. If you stay tuned, the video will come onto the Facebook Omineca site tomorrow, I believe, and you can have a recap of how I made it to Omineca. Starts off with a great little picture of me as probably 2 years old and goes on from there.
Next question. Do you always make your dolls from scratch, or do you enjoy repurposing dolls and changing their stories?
The ones that are shown here are made from scratch. I don't often repurpose dolls. I have done a few, but I enjoy starting them out right from the very beginning.
Excellent. Sorry, that was Zoe Molitis. Alicia Hughes asks, what has been your favorite projects over your art journey?
Every single one that I make. In the moment, it is my favorite project. I really don't know. I think the bicyclists sticking them into the environment and seeing them go. A couple of them are very personal ones to me, telling personal stories. Those ones hit close to home. And the guitar player. I had so much fun doing the guitar player, and he is somebody that everybody knows. Oh, Jen's going to take the camera over.
Oh, one sec. Sorry for the disturbance. Sticky.
And show you the guitar player.
The lovely guitar player. And you can kind of get a sense of what this side of the room looks like as well while we're here. So if you get a chance to come down, that would be great. We have a couple more questions already. Get that set up. Nicole asks, do you make the accessories for your dolls, or are they collaborations with other artists or found pieces?
The accessories, the clothing I make. The guitar I found in a little guitar shop in Penticton, bought the fellow out of all of his miniature guitars, so I have about 5 more at home and need to be made into something. Bicycles, I found objects. The stroller I made, the unicycle my husband made, the snowboard my husband made. It's a collaboration between me and my husband for a lot of the accessories because he's got the tool know-how. And I have it too, but I'm not nearly as fast as he is, and he does a much better job.
Awesome. Rob says he just wants to say he feels the love that you put into each of your pieces.
Thank you.
Alicia says the guitar player is fantastic. And Karen is saying that she's rather partial to your quilts.
Thanks, Karen. Karen, did you stay up late for this? If it's the same Karen I know, it's very late.
Tasha?
Yeah, she stayed up. It's 11 o'clock her time.
We might have some.
Do we have some more?
Yeah, feel free to ask any questions. And if we don't get to them today, if the live feed is done, we will go back and be able to answer any questions that you have following this event. And do you want to talk maybe about the workshop?
Oh, yes, I have a workshop coming up on the 19th, Saturday afternoon. So not this week, but the following week. And it's entitled Stitch Your Story. And we will be hand stitching a little fabric postcard. It's a 3-hour workshop. In that 3 hours, I'll give you what you need to know to finish it, because some people are very fast stitchers. I'm not one of them. You may not finish, but we'll get you started anyways and get you through. And yeah, come with ideas. To register, you can email me. The poster's listed on the Omineca Facebook page.
Been emailed out.
And you just have to email me directly. And we have a few spots left. I think we're about half full already.
Yes, I'm sure you'll fill up by the end of the night. Is it possible, if people wanted to sit in and watch, if they didn't have the materials, because there's a limit due to materials?
To the materials. That's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a very good question. I'll have to think about that.
Or will it be live?
It's going to be a live workshop. I can see
post
possibly about recording it and then picking out the relevant parts. If people want to do something similar on their own at home, I can cut it down to just those parts and edit out all the participants' faces. I think it would be possible to perhaps put something together after the workshop is over.
Cool. Alicia is asking if you always have a clear vision of the dolls before you create them, or do they change and evolve as they come to life?
A little bit of both. I will have an idea of something I want to make. And then as I start to make it and the doll takes shape, it sometimes takes a slightly different direction, perhaps in the way it's going to sit or in the way what it's going to be doing. It is usually the person I am trying to depict, but how they're posed in the end and what they do in the end might be a bit different to what I imagined at the beginning.
Very organic process. Do we have any questions? No, looks like we're good there. All right. We can take a couple more questions if there are any out there. Otherwise, I think we want to wrap up and really thank our artists in residence for taking the time to come here, encourage people to come drop in during our open hours to see the exhibition in person and engage with the artwork and the artist. We have open hours on Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and you are here.
I'm often
yourself.
here Fridays. The schedule is also on the Facebook site. We'll see about getting that brought up to the front again if we can. And I'm here for 4 hours at a time, so some Fridays, some Saturdays, and later on in the month, I think I've slotted in a Sunday and a Monday. If I come in any other days, I'll be sure to post it and let people know.
Well, this is very exciting to have your work here, and it's really exciting for me because I just visited Two Rivers Gallery and saw the show there. Do you want to speak about any correlations that you might have or thoughts about, it's kind of serendipitous that these come together at this time. It wasn't planned that way,
no,
but it came away. It came
Amanda Strong's exhibition, and let's see if I can say it, Iscochisa, perhaps, that's how it's called, Little Fires, is on at Two Rivers Gallery until the end of the month, and she has an amazing array of small figures that are used in stop motion animation films. So that's definitely something to go see. She's not only put the figures there, she's put the sets from the films, and the amount of detail that she puts into those is absolutely amazing.
Excellent. Yeah. What a wonderful way to spend your time with your home group, your family, and get out. I really encouraged my family to go out and see it, and they were quite thrilled, and a few other families that I know, because I know the kids being stuck at home are getting quite tired of not having anything to do, and coming out to galleries is a great way to support local artists and regional artists and Canadian artists. So do check out what people have on display and engage with the work as much as you can. A couple more comments here to share with you. Betty loves seeing your dolls. They're filled with expression, amazing energy, and diverse stories waiting to be discovered by each viewer. So I think we had a little bit more share to do before we finish.
Well,
and
after normal artist talk and the question and answer period, people are usually released with their drinks and can wander around the gallery. So what I'd like to do is say goodbye right now and set you off on a little tour of the exhibition, and at the end of the tour, one of my dolls will be saying, thank you for watching, and that'll be it for the night. My own personal thank you is right now. Thanks everybody for coming, and thanks Jen for taking time out of your evening to be here with me.
Anytime, it's our pleasure. We usually have our whole board at our opening, so I'm sure they're online as well. But thank you all for coming and witnessing this grand opening of Life in Stitches, and we are going to share a little bit of the exhibition, and if you're lucky, you can come down and see the exhibition in person. You might even be able to arrange time with any of our volunteers. So do give us an email, or Anna-Maria an email. Contact information is on the posters.
And to Doug and Dolores, I would love to have you come, but we'll have to settle for the virtual tour right now, okay?
Thank you, everybody. Here we go.